let's go ahead with another keynote speech which is dedicated to tokenization and will the world be tokenized, get tokenized in 2025. And Nicolas Bertrand, he's chairman and member of the board of directors of Yang platform. Welcome, Nicolas Bertrand. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. That's a pretty old picture of me. I promise that I'm going to give something more accurate in the next time I'm speaking. Basically, I want to talk to you today about the opportunities of tokenization. So, will the world be tokenized in 2025 is the title. And I think we all know the answer to this question, right? It's probably not going to be tokenized in 2025. Right? We're a little bit early days in the business of tokenization, but I wanted to, bring you with me on the reasoning, starting up with some general ideas about the world of digital assets, and then thinking about and looking at some charts that are showing some elements of answer to the potential of tokenization. So I hope you can put the first slide on, because there are some slides. Oh, here we go. Excellent. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to start with the change we're all facing. So thinking about the speech of Paolo Ardoino just a few minutes ago, I think he planted most of these seeds. So we're in front of a new era. We are in an era of transformation where modularity, decentralization, composability basically are shaping an industry, a potential of an economy, a system which is more inclusive, transparent, and flexible. So when you look at the problem, I mean, you hear many people in the financial markets talking about the fact that markets are broken. I don't think markets are broken. I mean, financial markets are working. But I think that it looks like they are complex, sometimes and a lot of time inefficient, but most importantly, remote. So there is a gap between the final user being a corporate, the final user being an investor in whichever shape or form, and the capital market. So problem of access. And I think digital assets are kind of solving for that problem, bringing ownership and the market closer to the actual user of that market. And tokenization is one element, is another push of that concept that is bringing, therefore, the wallets closer to the economy. I'm taking a step back, thinking about Yang platform. So just to have a few minutes on Yang platform, because we are really taking care of this concept. So basically, our objective is to create a digital hub that promotes interoperability between TradeFi, traditional finance, and DeFi, making global finance fast and easy. So I think those 2 points, so the efficiency, the ease of access to those tools. And actually, you end up building tools that are empowering everyone to understand, manage, and thrive in this new area of digital assets. So I think that this is, we're in front of a big shift, and basically the companies that are able to bring that to the clients will be the winners. Thinking about what Paolo was saying before, obviously, we are in Italy, and there is a little bit of doubt, from the institution on digital assets. But I think that, the movement is going, right? So there are some good elements of change that will come. And at the end of the day, nobody's stupid. And I think this initial trend, this initial concept of resistance will be solved. So we just need, as the industry, to invest a bit more time in explaining what we are doing, what are the risks, what we are trying to achieve, and that at the end of the story, we are making something that is beneficial to the people. And I think, insisting a little bit more and spending more time on that topic will resolve the resistance. And especially if we make an effort for the convergence of traditional finance and decentralized finance and the new economy linked to digital assets. So in terms of Young Platform, we've got basically three streams. The first one, which is education. So that's why I was talking about educating everybody, not only the clients, also the government, also the people who are making rules, the regulators. This element of the Young Platform it's a service called STEP, and that's the service that allowed us to bring 2 million private investors to the platform. So it's really important. It's important for the public. It's important for the state. So education is a critical element. Any exchange, by the way, has to focus on education in order to be successful. Then we have the other two streams. Trading, of course, we are a trading exchange. We are the biggest Italian exchange on crypto assets. But on the exchange standpoint, basically what you will see an evolution of Young Platform, and basically that willingness to offer to clients payment systems. So the ability to access payments with debit cards and Italian bank accounts with a proper Italian IBAN, which will allow our clients to have a better path into digital assets. So that's really the objective behind it. So it's this concept of ease of access to digital asset. That is also the point actually behind the tokenization, right? Because tokenization is a bit of a complex concept. People don't really understand that we will need education, we will need access, we will need people to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. So here, I'm not going to go into all the details, but you can see STEP in the educational. It's our tool to educate the masses into how can I use digital asset and why should I use it. The on-off crypto ramp, staking, savings plan, and coming soon, payment accounts and debit cards. And then trading, we are making a lot of development in trading, increasing our liquidity and making sure that the clients will be able to access the product, be in front of interesting liquidity pool, and therefore having a real good experience in trading with us. Now let's look at some numbers. So in order to answer to the question about tokenization, I think we need to go a little bit backwards and look at the digital asset economy in general. So those numbers, economic numbers for the world, global real GDP growth and global inflation. So we see that all the efforts that have been made in the last few years are finally paying off, with inflation coming down from a global level of about 10% to numbers that are closer to be comfortable area for central bank. And actually we've seen a number of central banks decrease their interest rates. So that's something that is positive in digital assets because it increases the competitivity of digital assets against other assets. So that gives us an interesting and positive framework from an economic standpoint. And we see also growth, GDP growth globally, basically trending towards 3.2%. And therefore stabilizing, notwithstanding, the big difficulties, the wars, and got so many issues globally, but still, an interesting level of growth. So growth and lower inflation is positive for digital assets. Solana, I think I think we're missing one. Hang on. I know. All right. They switched. Solana has been probably the star of 2024. 67% of coins, of tokens have been issued on Solana in 2025. So there is a big comeback on the price of Solana, on the usage of Solana as a blockchain. But what you can see, I mean, I took the example of pump.fun that you probably all know. Well, maybe 2025 would not be that good for them. But if you look at 2024, they reached November. In November, the amount of fees that they collected was above $100 million, just 1 month. So what I want to take this example to show you that there is a lot of activity in the digital assets. There are opportunities of businesses that from scratch, they were charging 0 in February 2024, went up to 100 million at the end of 2024, and probably close to 0 now. But it's just to show the dynamism and the fact that that's also a very positive element. It means that businesses in blockchain, people are trying stuff, and if it works, it's going, right? ETFs, 2024, the year of ETFs for BTC, about 30 billion collected totally, just on the BTC ETF. I mean, you are missing the x-axis, but you can see a little bit of a follow-up trend between the price of BTC and the amount of asset gathered on those ETF. The ETF listing in the US has been an important trigger, as you know, because it's opening the user base of people trading digital assets. BTC was the first. ETC was basically allowed towards the mid of 2024. That's what you see in blue. Very small compared to BTC, and little by little new products are being released. Other countries around the world, unfortunately, not yet Italy. So I hope that this could be solved very soon. But definitely this is an illustration of the increase of the size of the market for digital asset, and that is also important for tokenization. Liquid staking, that's an example on Solana liquid staking, whereby the liquid staking is an innovation. It's the ability to do staking in a more straightforward way, ease of access, more straightforward, closer to the client. It pays off because when you look at the percentage of liquid staking on Solana, you were at a couple of percentage points in 22. We are now about 10% of the market, and the amount of liquid staking on Solana in 2024 has gone up by 70%, I think, according to Delama. And that's also an illustration that innovation in digital assets, it's picking up and it's working. And then finally, to close on this analysis, I think there is a path, an evolution. So we all think, oh, this is a revolution, but before having a revolution, you need an evolution. Being French, I know I've had lots of lessons at school on the French Revolution. Before the revolution, there is an evolution. And this is what we are basically living in at the moment. From before Christ, the commodity era, where the money was just a stone or some shellfish and things like that, to something concrete, the gold standard precious metals, to then all of a sudden central bank thinking, well, why should we peg to the gold? Let's just go and print it. We don't need that. And then from 1971, therefore, the fiat area, whereby you get your money and it's a piece of paper that everybody uses without thinking really what's behind, right? Which is why when regulators are telling us, oh, what is behind Bitcoin? Then usually I answer, but what is behind the euro, right? So just tell me, right? I'm happy to have a discussion. But that's the digital area. So Bitcoin, stablecoin, on-chain risk-free rate, tokenization, DeFi. This is where we are going. We might not need money 25, 50 years from now. It's going to take a lot of time, right? And it might never happen. Actually, my own thinking is that it's going to go in parallel. So you will have, everybody will still use fiat money, of course. Everybody uses gold, right? And it's like thousands of years ago. So fiat is not dead. It's just that we are putting together something that is more interesting, closer to the client, and therefore should have a good penetration into the market. And actually, the benefit of tokenization, that's what we are talking. Tokenization is just an element of the digital assets, and it's a bloody important element because anything we can think about with the traditional markets, you could probably do it on the blockchain in a more efficient way, with less intermediaries, on a cheaper. From an issuance standpoint, in a cheaper way from an issuance standpoint to a trading standpoint. So you are making things, you are making the machine, putting more oil in the machine and therefore giving more potential for people to really realize what they want to achieve. Lower transaction cost, efficient transactions, lower barriers to entry because it goes direct. You don't need 500 intermediaries. And what really the regulator wants, immutable records available on chain to increase trust and transparency. So it basically ticks all the boxes. How much are we talking about? Well, at the moment we are around 50 billion of assets tokenized. That's what we are. So at the beginning of 2025. So we're far away from the hundreds of trillions of potential. Look at that, real estate, 400 trillion. Money market fund, 8 trillion. Commodities, 9 trillion. Private equity, 10 trillions. And we are missing lots of stuff there. We are talking hundreds of trillion of dollars of assets that could be tokenized of different shape and form, all the asset classes. Real estate, commodities, bonds, shares. So there is really a huge universe of potential, an opportunity to therefore give another avenue to reach these products through the innovation of blockchain. And when we look at the numbers, just to conclude, then we'll have a few minutes if you want, if you have any questions. Where is tokenization happening at the moment? So first of all, 23-24 is a huge upside on tokenization. Usually when you have something like that, it means that there is some potential behind, right? When things are starting like very, very low for years, and all of a sudden you get a big lift, that's a hockey stick type of pattern, and that's usually a good sign. You see that tokenization happens mostly in private credit and US Treasury debt. That's where the business is at the moment. Just two, very concentrated at the moment. That's the sign that is the beginning. And what I'm expecting is that path, that line to go straight up for another number of years, and the diversification of the asset class that will be touched. Number of users, 66 million total users on tokenization platform. 650,000 new users per month globally. Not bad, right? Look at the line, same line as before. I was in dollars before. This is in number of users. So really, it looks like something is happening. So, well, I'm not going to go, this is the way the tokenization process happens. maybe I'm concluding on this one, which shows a little bit who is interested in tokenization, which firms. Well, look at these guys, BlackRock, not only tokenization, by the way, the whole digital asset. Let's talk about the big names, right? BlackRock, 1, 2, touching 3 touch points, Bank of New York, 2, Citi, 3, JP Morgan, all the way from crypto trading, custody, private crypto funds, crypto ETPs, the whole thing, right? Tokenization, by the way, BlackRock is asking the US government to open tokenization, right? Seriously. Their CEO has been very vocal about that. And then an interesting thing, payment companies, Visa, PayPal, and MasterCard, definitely ticking on the tokenization, crypto-able payments. So that's a bit what we are doing in Young. In Young, in a couple of months, we will be, with a partnership with one of these guys, ticking that box on payments. But, the next step is when you want to cover 360 degrees on digital assets, you will have to offer a service of tokenization. That's the future. And I think, when you look at the data available on the business itself, when you look at the state of digital assets, when you look at what's happening globally, the US coming in very strongly in digital assets, I think it means that the world won't be tokenized in 25 is too early, but give it like 5, 10 years, there will be a significant amount of tokenization happening. And it's to the benefit of the market, the final users, corporates who want to raise money, the economy in general, and the private investors in whichever shape or form. All right, I hope it was interesting. Absolutely. All right.
That was impressive. That was really interesting. And Bertrand, I remember when we met when you were the head of derivatives at Borsa Italiana, London Stock Exchange. And my question for you is, from the inside, the institutional world of the finance and the economy, how do you feel like the pace of change that is underway? Yes, because the trend is there, the direction is clear, but the adoption is still uncertain. And Paolo Arduino was saying today, well, there's a lot of skepticism and also, he said, denigration at institutional level, especially here in Italy.
Yeah. Very good question. There has to be skepticism because it's an innovation, right? 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was no Bitcoin, nothing like that. In 15 years, this asset class has grown from 0.0 to a value of about 4 trillion at the moment, roughly, between 3 and 4 trillion, according to CoinGecko. So basically, we are in front of something new, and anything that is innovative, will cast some doubts to, any regulator or any institution that has built their own business on the thing they know. I know there is some sort of disruption. So, contrary to many people, I don't think we will have a problem. I think that the Italian institutions, from the businesses to the regulators, will evolve, and they will have to, because at the end we are on the same planet, and if everybody changes, they will have to change, right? People recognize that. You've seen Banca Intesa doing the first trade in BTC. We see, for Young Platform, a lot of outreach from banks who want to see, what can you do, to educate us? Could we do some courses, etc. So we are seeing really that that there is an interest, and ultimately, what I think is happening is going to be a convergence. So we don't need to be aggressive. It will come because it's natural, but there will be a convergence. And basically, as Young Platform, we want to be positive about what's happening, and we want to just bring to the banking sector, bring to the economy, more ability to benefit from digital assets.
Well, Nicolas, this is very clear. This is kind of an urgency also to adapt to this new world. And this was a message for regulators, for central banks and so on. But how about the player of this market? In a few minutes, we're going to have a roundtable with some of the main players. How can we prevent, because there's volatility and there will be volatility, how can we prevent to have the troubles we had in the derivatives world? You know that very well. And we know that 2008, 2009, the world nearly collapsed for some mistakes and extreme use of, combination of leverage and derivatives and so on. How can we, protect this trend of tokenization and digital asset to get to that level of...
Well, I think we need to be careful between, issues and fraud, right? If you look at FTX, well, they were running a company that was worth tens of billions of dollars without even doing boards. No risk management, no corporate governance. Is this the right way to run a company, right? So this is not a digital asset issue. It's an issue of another type. However, when you are bringing such an innovation, as such disruption, such new advantages to the market, you have to expect that there will be oscillations. And, I wouldn't be surprised if there is another wave of big, negative market in digital asset. We are 15 years from the creation of that instrument. So it's as if we were, when the banknote was invented by England in the 1800s, it's as if we were like 1875. There has been some problems probably on some of those banknotes. Right? It's the same, right? It's early days, so we need to be ready to withstand oscillations and volatility. And we need to be really careful to distinguish between what's a fraud, something that has nothing to do with digital asset really, and the digital asset itself, right? Because usually journalism, etc., they tend to put everything together. Oh, look at what's happening. Actually, this is a fraud. This is not. It has nothing to do with digital asset. It could have happened in traditional finance. Actually.
Yeah, and it's all about also supervision that has to adapt to what's going on. And FTX was kind of a huge mistake also in terms of supervision. Nicolas,
and also for the market itself, how can you invest in a company without even looking at the documentation?
Yeah. I do strongly agree with you, except that we invented banks in Italy in the 15th century, so it wasn't the UK. But this is just a little bit of, Italian proud. Thanks again, Nicolas Bertrand. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For your speech. Thanks.